So Crash and Burn is a horror sci-fi movie from 1990. It is directed by Charles Band and stars Bill Moseley, and it's written by the guy who wrote the Prom Night remake and the Stepfather remake, wrote and directed The Slayer. So red flags right away, telling you that this movie's probably not going to be that good. And it's a full moon picture. Makes sense. Charles Band and his brother Richard Band composing the movie, and edited by Ted Nicolau, who did Terror Vision, directed that movie, and which is an awesome picture. And this movie is about when a Unicom synth robot infiltrates a Southwest TV station and kills the manager. A lowly Unicom delivery man must help the rest of the station survive through the incoming thermal storm. Besides Bill Moseley, this movie also has Paul Ganus as our lead character, and the only thing I recognized him from was the cheesy slasher Drive-Thru playing Mackenzie's dad. There's only two things that I liked about this movie. A, it has Bill Moseley in it, and I thought he was the better actor in the movie. I like seeing him. He's always going to be chop top to me. And I liked the practical makeup effects done by Greg Canham, who's done a lot of work in the genre. I believe he's won awards for his effects, and I believe he was also supposed to do the effects on Friday the 13th, the final chapter, at one point before Tom Savini took his place. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, great effects artist. There's some pretty good practical effects in here where a guy's hand's swelling up. There's a person whose his arm gets ripped off. That was kind of cool. Outside of that, not much else to talk about here. I did not like this movie. First up, I'm just not a big fan of horror sci-fi. There's a couple exceptions, not a lot, a couple, but this is a horror sci-fi movie that just seems like a generic sci-fi horror movie. It feels like it's just ripping from a lot of different movies. It's very derivative. There's a scene that's like almost straight out of The Thing. This movie feels like it's The Thing meets like Terminator. It's just not my kind of movie. I did not like the story at all. It's just boring, generic, poor acting from a lot of these people. Except for like the obnoxious fat guy, whoever he was. I thought his performance was alright. He's kind of annoying though. There's a forced love scene that just comes out of nowhere. Like, I just can't stand that shit. And also the dialogue I thought was pretty poor. It makes sense coming from the guy who wrote Prom Night remake and the Stepfather remake. This guy's not a good writer. It's just a bunch of unnatural, horrible dialogue and a lot of bad attempts at humor. And also, there's two reveals in the movie, and both of them were extremely predictable, so there's no real surprise. And lastly, this movie just looks and feels so cheap. The sets, even the score of the movie just has a generic, low-budget quality sound. It's just very cheap beginning to end. So final thoughts, this is just a low-budget horror sci-fi film that just looks and feels cheap with nothing surprising or original. I felt the writing to be just very clumsy and derivative of other better movies in the genre. It's also just generic and boring and made me wish that the frickin' Tubi app would crash and burn to end my suffering. So when it comes to Crash and Burn, I'm giving it 1.5 out of 5. So there you have it. Very quick, short review. Not much to talk about in this movie. Hardly anything interesting happens in it. So there's a big robot at the end, but that's only in the movie for like 30 seconds. If this movie had a good budget, that could have been more interesting. But no, it's just a poor miniature effect. So what are your thoughts on this movie if you've even seen it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.